Part 1: The Wreck of the Hallowed. The universe has a way of being both too vast and too claustrophobically small, like a cup of coffee that's gone cold too quickly. That's precisely how I felt wedged into my rusted hulk of a freighter, the violet mist, as it drifted through the debris field surrounding the shattered planet of Arcanis. The planet had disintegrated long ago, leaving behind a field of jagged rocks, twisted metal, and haunted memories. All of it held together by the stubborn embrace of a magnetic field that refused to let go. My mission was simple: retrieve a sensor module from the derelict ship known as the Hallowed. The violet mist groaned and creaked under the strain of the navigation maneuvers I demanded of it, a ship that had seen better days, perhaps before I was even born. The cockpit smelled of engine grease and burnt circuits, and the control panel flickered like an old movie projector on its last reel. My co-pilot, an artificial intelligence named Zeke, had a personality that could only be described as sarcastic at best. "Are you absolutely sure this is a good idea?" Zeke's voice crackled through the speakers, laced with an electronic cynicism that felt far too human. "Good ideas are overrated, Zeke," I replied, eyes fixed on the holographic display mapping the treacherous expanse ahead. "Besides, it's not like we have a choice. This module is worth more than this rust bucket." "If we survive, that is," Zeke quipped, but I could sense the concern beneath the humor. I grinned at the predictability of his programming. The Hallowed was an ancient freighter, or what was left of it. It had been caught in the planet's cataclysmic demise and now hung in the void like a specter wrapped in mystery. My employers, a shadowy consortium known as Arcano Corp., insisted the data inside was vital. Maybe to them, to me, it was a final paycheck. As I closed the distance, the true scale of the Hallowed's wreckage became apparent. Twisted metal tendrils reached out as if begging for company, while the ship's fractured hull glimmered with ghostly allure against the starlight. An eerie silence enveloped everything, the kind that would send shivers up anyone's spine. Docking with the Hallowed was no easy feat, but I've never been one to shy from a challenge. With a final, defiant groan, my freighter latched on, and I suited up, readying myself for the hostile void. The airlock release hissed, and I stepped into the silent corridors of the Hallowed. The ship's once functional systems had succumbed to decades of neglect, leaving behind an oppressive darkness only occasionally punctured by the flickering remnants of emergency lighting. "Watch your step, Flynn," Zeke advised through my helmet's comm link. "The ship's structural integrity is questionable, to say the least." I chuckled despite the apprehension. Noted, I've always had a soft spot for crumbling architecture. The corridors were a labyrinth of twisted bulkheads and floating debris. I made my way to the command center, the module I needed hopefully still intact. My footsteps echoed in the void, accompanied only by the hum of my suit's life support. The ship felt alive in its own right, a slumbering giant on the brink of awakening. As I entered the command center, my heart skipped a beat. The module was there, nestled in a cradle of shattered consoles. But something else caught my eye, a series of glowing symbols inscribed on the walls, pulsating with a rhythmic vitality. "Zeke, are you seeing this?" I transmitted, my voice barely a whisper. "Affirmative," Zeke replied, an unusual note of intrigue in his tone. "Those symbols appear to be of alien origin. They're alive." The words sent a chill through me. The symbols danced with an unsettling intelligence, a code that seemed to beckon. My hand hovered over the module, torn between my original mission and the new enigma that had presented itself. I think we've found something much bigger than a sensor module," I murmured, unable to tear my eyes away from the cryptic inscriptions. Suddenly, a tremor rocked the ship, sending me stumbling against the console. The symbols flared violently, casting the room in blinding brilliance. My heart pounded in my chest as the ship's groans intensified, a symphony of impending collapse. "Flynn, we need to leave now." Zeke's voice was urgent, cutting through the chaos. I secured the module with shaking hands, and with one last glance at the mysterious symbols, I sprinted back the way I'd come. The ship seemed determined to keep me, its corridors now a cacophony of alarms and failing supports. Debris rained down like a storm, each impact a reminder of mortality's razor edge. The airlock loomed ahead like the gate to salvation. I threw myself through, sealing it behind me just as the Hallowed began to shudder in its death throes. The violet mist detached, and I barely caught my breath before gunning the engines to full throttle. As I sped away, the ship's backwash shifted the debris field into a slow dance, and the Hallowed became a bright flare in the void, consumed by its own demise. "Made it by a hair, Flynn," Zeke remarked, relief evident. "What's our next move?" I exhaled, my focus drifting to the module secured at my feet. "First, let's see if Arcanocorp has any idea what we've stumbled upon." The starlit expanse stretched ahead, filled with possibilities and danger. But I was ready for whatever came next. After all, the universe was both too vast and too small for idleness. Part 2: Echoes of Viratha's Asterisk. The violet mist cut through the cold expanse of space, a single point of light against the backdrop of infinity. As the engines droned, I found myself staring at the sensor module secured in the cargo hold, its silence a taunting enigma. The symbols we'd found on the Hallowed haunted my thoughts, their alien luminescence seared into my memory. "Flynn, we've entered the Viratha's system," Zeke announced, his tone a curious mix of excitement and caution. "Arcanocorp's orbital station should be visible shortly." I leaned back in my seat, letting out a breath I hadn't realized I'd been holding. Viratha's was a system like no other, home to Arcanocorp's formidable operations and a hub of intrigue and power. The planet itself was a swirling mass of emerald storms, its surface hidden beneath toxic clouds that danced with electrical fury. Above it hung the orbital station, a sprawling megastructure that glowed with the energy of 1,000 suns. Approaching the station felt like swimming toward a leviathan, its spires reaching out as if to ensnare me. Arcanocorp had spared no expense in building their fortress in the sky, a testament to their wealth and influence. As I maneuvered the violet mist into the docking bay, I couldn't help but feel a twinge of apprehension. "You're clear to enter," a cool, disembodied voice crackled over the comm. The docking clamps engaged with a metallic thud, and the ship went silent. The airlock cycled open, releasing the crisp, processed air of the station. I stepped onto the polished floors of Arcanocorp's domain, greeted by an overwhelming sense of sterility and order. The corridors bustled with uniformed personnel, their movements precise and synchronized. If the Hallowed had been a graveyard, this was a hive, teeming with purpose and secrets. As I made my way to the briefing room, I couldn't help but notice the subtle glances cast my way, whispers trailing in my wake. It seemed news of my discovery had already preceded me. I pushed open the door to find Director Kyan awaiting me, a shrewd man with eyes that seemed to pierce through fabrications. "Flynn," he greeted, gesturing for me to sit, "you've brought us something extraordinary." I placed the module on the table, its surface reflecting the sterile light. Extraordinary doesn't begin to cover it. There were symbols on the Hallowed, alive, alien. Kyan leaned forward, his interest piqued. "Show me." I activated the module, and the room was bathed in the eerie glow of the symbols. They pulsed as if in response to our presence, a living script that defied comprehension. Kyan watched in silence, his expression a mask of professionalism hiding a storm of thoughts. "These are not just symbols, Flynn," he finally spoke, his voice tinged with awe. "They're a language, a code, and it seems you've inadvertently stumbled upon something of great value." Before I could respond, the station shuddered, a deep rumble echoing through the halls. The lights flickered and alarms blared, casting the room in flashes of crimson. "What the hell was that?" I shouted over the din, adrenaline spiking. Kyan's composure remained intact, but urgency crackled beneath his calm facade. "Stay here, I'll get the details." He slipped out of the room, leaving me alone with the module, its glow now a mockery of the chaos outside. Minutes stretched into eternity as the alarms continued their relentless cry. "Flynn, we've got a breach," Zeke's voice cut in, jolting me. "A ship just hyperspaced into the station's perimeter. It's unlike anything I've ever seen." "Great, just what we needed," I muttered, my mind racing. "Stay on standby, this might get ugly." Seconds later, the door burst open and Kyan re-entered, his calm veneer now a thing of the past. "We have hostiles on board, unknowns. They're after the module." Figures, I thought with wry frustration. Nothing like a little life-threatening crisis to spice up the day. "How many?" "Too many," he replied, handing me a weapon. "We need to move." We re-entered the chaos-filled corridors, the station's pristine order now a battlefield. Personnel scrambled past, their expressions a mix of fear and determination. Sporadic bursts of gunfire echoed, punctuated by the cries of distress. "Flynn, heads up," Zeke's warning was barely in time. Rounding a corner, we collided with the intruders, a trio of alien forms unlike any in known records. They were serpentine, their bodies an intricate weave of scales and bioluminescence, eyes glowing with a fierce intelligence. They moved with a fluid grace, a dance of death as they charged. Instinct kicked in and I raised the weapon, firing. The corridor lit with the searing blaze of energy, but the aliens were quick, dodging with an agility that defied reason. Kyan fired beside me, his shots barely missing their mark. The lead alien lunged, its coiled form a blur. I barely managed to evade its passage a ush of air and light. My heart pounded, and I could feel the edge of panic clawing at me, but I'd come too far to let it take hold. "Kyan, we need to split," I called, backing into a side passage. "Get to the command center. I'll lead them off." He hesitated, a silent battle behind his eyes. Finally, he nodded, retreating with a promise to return. The aliens pursued, their determination a relentless shadow. I ducked and weaved through the station's labyrinthine corridors, my mind a whirl of survival and strategy. The symbols flashed in my vision, a reminder of all I had to lose. Then, just when I thought I might escape, one of the serpentine creatures cut me off, its eyes locking onto mine. I felt a jolt, as if something deep within me recognized the creature for what it was, not a threat, but a message. "Flynn, what are you doing?" Zeke's urgent voice pierced the fog. "You can't fight them head-on." I snapped back to reality, the moment of connection severed. "Right, let's make this a chase they'll regret." I bolted down an adjacent corridor, the aliens close behind. My breath came in ragged gasps, the station's flickering lights a strobe against my adrenaline-fueled vision. Finally, I reached the hangar, my sanctuary in sight. The violet mist stood ready, a beacon of escape in the madness. I dove inside, sealing the hatch as the aliens closed in. "Punch it, Zeke," I commanded, slamming into the pilot's seat. The engines roared to life, and we hurtled out of the hangar, the station shrinking into the void behind us. My pulse gradually slowed, the reality of our survival settling in. "Flynn," Zeke spoke, his voice a blend of relief and curiosity. "I recorded everything, those aliens. They were communicating with the symbols. I nodded, my thoughts a tangle of new possibilities and ancient mysteries. Whatever we had uncovered, it was only the beginning. The universe was vast, but for the first time, it felt like the answers might be closer than I dared believe. Part 3: The Fractured Echo. The violet mist streaked through the cosmos, leaving behind the chaos of the Virathis station. My hands trembled slightly on the controls, the adrenaline slowly ebbing away to be replaced by a steady resolve. The sensor module sat next to me, its pulsing light a reminder of the discovery and the danger it had brought. "Flynn, what's our next move?" Zeke's voice crackled with a mix of curiosity and concern. Before I could answer, the module flickered, and a holographic display projected into the space above the console. The symbols unraveled into a star map, lines of light connecting distant points into a web of intrigue. At the center of this map pulsed a single location, a beacon amid the cosmic void. "Seems like we have a destination," I mused, studying the map with equal parts fascination and apprehension. "Whatever this is, I doubt it's an Arcanocorp tourist spot." Zeke ran a quick analysis. The coordinates point to the Fractured Echo, a region infamous for its cosmic anomalies and gravitational disruptions. I let out a low whistle. Nothing like a little gravitational instability to keep things interesting. "Set a course, Zeke. Let's see what secrets the Echo is hiding." The journey to the Fractured Echo was uneventful, a deceptive calm that belied the turbulence ahead. As we closed in on the coordinates, the vastness of space began to warp and twist, the stars themselves bending under unseen forces. It was as if the universe here had decided to dance to its own chaotic tune. The violet mist creaked in protest, the ship's hull groaning under the strain of the fluctuating gravities. The controls felt less like an extension of my will and more like a stubborn mule, resisting my every command. "Steady, girl," I muttered, coaxing the ship through the maelstrom of spatial distortions. "We've been through worse." Finally, we reached the eye of the storm, a tranquil void contrasting the surrounding chaos. At the center floated an alien megastructure, its architecture a marvel of intricate geometries and impossible angles. It hung in space like a jewel, its surfaces shimmering with an iridescent glow. "Flynn, that's not on any databank," Zeke noted, awe creeping into his synthesized voice. "No, it wouldn't be," I replied, my own amazement tempered by a cautious dread. "We need to get closer, but let's not announce our presence." The megastructure loomed larger as we approached, its scale dwarfing even the largest vessels I'd encountered. I set the violet mist into a lazy drift, allowing us to circle the structure at a safe distance. The module hummed with increasing intensity, its symbols flickering in response to the proximity. "Anything out of the ordinary on the scans?" I asked, scanning the readouts for anomalies. "Everything's out of the ordinary," Zeke replied dryly. "But I'm detecting a faint energy signature emanating from the structure, concentrated at a central chamber." I tapped my fingers against the console, weighing the risk against the insatiable pull of discovery. "All right, let's take a look. Keep the engines warm. I have a feeling we might need a quick exit." Suiting up once more, I cycled through the airlock and floated across the void toward the structure. The hull beneath my boots was smooth, almost liquid in its fluidity, the material shifting colors with each step. The entrance was a portal of light, perhaps a deliberate invitation or a challenge. Either way, it was the only way in. I gripped the edge of the aperture and pulled myself through, the transition seamless as if the universe itself had momentarily paused to let me pass. Inside, the chamber opened into a cavernous expanse filled with glowing constructs, each more alien than the last. The air thrummed with energy, a low vibration that resonated in my chest. At the center of it all stood a pedestal, and atop it lay what appeared to be a crystal of swirling patterns and colors. It pulsed like a heart, its rhythms echoing the symbols of the module. As I approached, the air shimmered, and a presence filled the room, not physical, but a consciousness vast and unfathomable. I staggered back, overwhelmed by the weight of its awareness. "Flynn, are you all right?" Zeke's voice was a lifeline in the tempest of sensation. I'm not sure," I admitted, shaking off the dizziness. "There's something here, something alive." The presence reached out, a whisper in my mind that felt ancient and wise. It was a language without words, a sensation without form, and I realized that the symbols we discovered were merely a gateway to this deeper understanding. And then the revelation struck. The aliens on the station weren't invaders, but guardians, protectors of this secret. Their intent was not to harm, but to preserve this knowledge from those who might exploit it. In that moment I knew I faced a choice. I could take the knowledge, the power it promised, back to Arcanocorp Boo. At what cost? The implications weighed heavily, a burden I had never anticipated. "Flynn, we have incoming," Zeke interrupted, urgency threading his voice. "An Arcanocorp patrol ship just entered the system." Damn, they must have tracked us. My heart pounded with clarity. The choice was clear, if not easy. I reached for the crystal, feeling the alien consciousness embrace me in a surge of connection. In that instant, I understood the universe was vaster and more intricate than I'd ever imagined, a tapestry of life and energy interwoven through time and space. With a final, decisive breath, I made my choice. "Zeke, activate the self-destruct on the module." "Are you sure?" he queried, hesitation in his circuits. "Yes," I replied, the weight of conviction in my voice. "This knowledge isn't for Arcanocorp. It's bigger than them, bigger than us." As the module's countdown began, I turned away from the pulsing crystal, retreating back to the ship. The moment I was secured, I fired the engines, rocketing us away from the megastructure just as it dissolved into a blinding cascade of light, the knowledge within safely beyond reach. The Arcanocorp patrol ship veered, caught in the shockwave of the implosion. The violet mist sped past, the stars opening to welcome us back into their infinite embrace. As the starlit canvas spread before me, I felt a sense of peace amid the tumult. The universe had its secrets, and for once I'd chosen to protect them. Whatever lay ahead, I knew I was ready, for the universe was mine to discover, one mystery at a time. Part 4: The Celestial Convergence. The violet mist coasted through the void, starlight flicking across the cockpit like cosmic fireflies. My choice to destroy the module still echoed in my mind, a crescendo of defiance against the relentless grasp of Arcanocorp. The knowledge I had protected was safe, but the consequences were only beginning to unfold. "Flynn, you realize Arcanocorp won't take this lightly," Zeke chimed, his voice laced with a wry undercurrent. "They're not exactly known for their forgiving nature." I sighed, running a hand through my hair. "I know, Zeke, but it was never about them. Some things are worth the risk." As we drifted further from the fractured echo, a soft glow appeared on the horizon, a nebula, vast and colorful, swirling in a dance of gases and light. Its splendor captivated me, a celestial tapestry unfurling in the vastness of space. Yet something about it was different. "Zeke, are you getting readings on that nebula?" I asked, curiosity piqued. "Strange," Zeke replied, a hint of wonder threading his synthetic voice. "The nebula's composition is unique. I'm detecting unusual energy fluctuations, almost as if it's alive." Alive, I frowned, contemplating the implications. This nebula seemed more than a mere cosmic phenomenon. As I adjusted our trajectory toward it, a sense of anticipation simmered within me. Whatever mysteries lay hidden within its depths, I was determined to uncover them. Upon entering the nebula, the violet mist was enveloped by ethereal lights that danced across the hull, casting shifting patterns in the cockpit. The ship's sensors painted a kaleidoscope of data, the energy signatures a symphony of the unknown. Suddenly, the ship shuddered, caught in an invisible tide that pulled us deeper into the nebula's embrace. The controls resisted like a stubborn stallion, and I fought to steady our course. "Flynn, we're being drawn in," Zeke warned, his voice calm despite the tension. "Brace yourself," I instructed, gripping the console with white knuckles as we tumbled through the luminous maelstrom. Without warning, the nebula parted like a curtain, revealing an immense cosmic structure, an orbital array, ancient and majestic, gracefully spinning within the nebula's heart. Its spires reached into the ether like fingers stretching for starlight, each adorned with intricate glyphs that mirrored those I had seen before. As we approached, the ship's systems flickered, and I felt a tingle at the back of my mind, the presence of the nebula itself, its consciousness curious and observant. "We're not alone," I whispered, more to myself than anyone else. The nebula was aware, its energies intertwined with the array in a symbiotic harmony. "Flynn, I'm detecting life signs aboard the array," Zeke informed, equal parts surprise and intrigue. The implication staggered me. If there were life aboard, then perhaps the array served a purpose beyond my comprehension. I navigated the violet mist toward an open docking port, the ship sliding into place with a graceful ease that belied the nebula's chaotic allure. Stepping into the array was like crossing a threshold into another world. The air hummed with a vitality that vibrated through my bones, and the architecture was a seamless blend of organic design and advanced technology. Luminant plants lined the corridors, their phosphorescent glow casting a gentle light that ebbed and flowed with the rhythm of the array's pulse. "Quite the welcome committee," I murmured, my gaze sweeping the corridor in awe. As I ventured deeper, a figure emerged from the shadows, a being unlike any I had encountered, its form a harmonious meld of plant and machine. Its eyes fixed on me with a serene wisdom, and I realized that I was in the presence of an ancient intelligence. "We are the keepers," the being spoke, its voice a melodic resonance in my mind. "You have journeyed far, seeker." I nodded, my earlier apprehensions melting away in the warmth of its presence. "I didn't come here by accident. Your nebula called to me." "Indeed," the keeper replied, gesturing for me to follow. "This array is a sanctuary, a convergence of energies where life and knowledge intertwine. The nebula sustains it, and in return, the array preserves its secrets." Together we walked through the array's heart, the corridors opening into a vast chamber where a luminous sphere hovered, its core swirling with vibrant energies. It was a nexus, a repository of cosmic consciousness. "Why have you brought me here?" I asked, the weight of the moment pressing upon me. "You possess the courage to protect that which should remain hidden," the keeper explained, the sphere's light reflecting in its eyes. "The knowledge you preserved is a fragment of a greater whole, a map of consciousness, connecting all life across the universe." A map of consciousness. The realization settled over me like a gentle wave, an understanding of the interconnectedness of all things. This array was a beacon, a node in the cosmic web that linked existence itself. "And what becomes of me now?" I asked, aware of the gravity of my journey. "You have a choice," the keeper replied, its voice a soothing balm. "To continue your journey as a seeker, a guardian of the balance, or to return to your path, carrying the wisdom you have gained. I pondered the keeper's words, the sphere's warmth enveloping me in its embrace. The choice was mine, and yet it felt as if my decision had already been made. "I'll continue as a seeker," I declared, my resolve firm. "There's so much more to discover and to protect." The keeper nodded, a faint smile gracing its features. "Then go, Flynn, with our blessing. The nebula shall guide you, and the array shall always welcome you." With a final glance at the sphere, I returned to the violet mist, my heart alight with purpose. The nebula parted once more as we departed, its energies a gentle caress as we slipped back into the endless embrace of space. As the stars stretched before me, I felt the weight of the universe in a new light, not as a burden, but as a tapestry of infinite wonder, awaiting my exploration. The cosmic convergences lay ahead, and I, ever the seeker, was ready to meet them. Part 5: The Cradle of Shadows. The vastness of space stretched endlessly before us, a sprawling canvas of possibilities and hidden truths. The violet mist was now more than a freighter. It was my vessel of discovery, a sanctuary for my quest to understand the universe's intricate dance. The nebula's presence lingered, a gentle whisper in the cosmic breeze, guiding us toward our next destination. "Flynn, we're receiving a distress signal," Zeke announced, breaking the serene silence of the cockpit. "Coordinates indicate it's coming from the edge of the Galcrin Belt." The Galcrin Belt was notorious, a sprawling expanse of chaotic asteroid fields and gravitational fluxes. Few ventured into its depths, and even fewer returned unchanged. "Patch it through," I replied, leaning forward as static crackled through the speakers. A voice, strained and laced with urgency, broke through the noise. "This is Captain Alara of the research vessel Odyssey. We are stranded and in need of immediate assistance. Our coordinates are locked." The message cut off abruptly, swallowed by the static's relentless hiss. "A research vessel in the Galcrin Belt," I mused aloud, curiosity sparking. "That's an odd place for science field trips." "Indeed," Zeke agreed, running a quick analysis. "The Odyssey's registry matches an exploratory mission, but its purpose in such a hazardous region is unclear." I tapped my fingers thoughtfully against the console. The belt's secrets were as numerous as its dangers, and a stranded ship could mean many things or nothing at all. Yet the call resonated with something deeper, a pull I couldn't ignore. "Set a course for the coordinates," I instructed, determination threading my words. "Let's see what kind of trouble Captain Alara's gotten herself into." As we approached the Galcrin Belt, the space around us shifted, the stars obscured by the swirling mass of asteroids and debris. The violet mist weaved through the labyrinthine field, the ship's sensors painting an intricate map of movement and potential hazards. "Flynn, there's an anomalous energy signature emanating from deeper within the belt," Zeke observed, curiosity piqued. "It appears to be affecting the gravitational fields around it." "Looks like we're getting a 2-for-1 special, rescue mission and anomaly exploration," I quipped, guiding the ship closer to the source of the signal. The Odyssey appeared on the horizon, a sleek vessel adrift amid the swirling chaos. Its hull bore the scars of asteroid impacts, and the distress beacon flickered fitfully. I brought the violet mist alongside, docking with a practiced ease despite the belt's tumultuous influences. Inside the Odyssey, the air was thick with tension, the corridors dimly lit and eerily silent. I made my way toward the bridge, where I found Captain Alara and her crew in a state of hectic coordination. "Captain Alara," I called, my voice echoing in the confined space. "I'm Flynn, responding to your distress signal." Ilara turned, her expression a mix of relief and resolve. She was tall, her demeanor one of command tempered by the stress of their predicament. "Flynn, thank you for coming," she replied, an edge of gratitude in her tone. "We've encountered an anomaly unlike anything we've seen before. It's disrupting our systems and keeping us trapped." I raised an eyebrow, intrigued by her words. "An anomaly, you say? What exactly are we dealing with?" Ilara gestured to the main display, where data scrolled in rapid succession. "We believe it's an ancient artifact, embedded within the belt. It's generating a field that's affecting gravity itself, pulling debris and ships toward it." An ancient artifact, I thought, echoes of the array surfacing in my mind. The universe seemed intent on leading me from one mystery to another. "Any idea what it is?" I asked, studying the readings with interest. "Not yet," Ilara admitted, frustration lacing her words. "But its effects are growing stronger. We need to find a way to deactivate it before it consumes us." A challenge, then. My resolve crystallized and I nodded. "All right, let's take a closer look. Maybe together we can unravel this mystery." Ilara and I made our way to the observation deck, where the anomaly was visible, a dark mass nestled within the belt's core, its surface shimmering with an unearthly light. It pulsed with a rhythm that resonated through the ship, a hypnotic allure that beckoned. "Flynn, be careful," Zeke cautioned through my comm. "Those energy signatures are unpredictable." I offered a reassuring smile. When has predictability ever been in our job description? The closer we got to the anomaly, the more its presence filled my senses. It was both an object and a force, a relic of a past civilization whose understanding of physics transcended our own. "Ilara, I might have an idea," I said, my mind turning over possibilities. "If we can find a way to synchronize with its energ. Why signature? Maybe we can deactivate the field." She nodded, determination in her eyes. "Then let's get to work." Hours stretched into eternity as we labored together, the air a haze of tension and anticipation. The anomaly's pulse seemed to quicken, its influence a tangible pressure that tested our resolve. Finally, we calibrated the ship systems to resonate with the anomaly's frequency. A surge of energy crackled through the air as the field synchronized, the room bathed in a cascade of shifting light. I held my breath, waiting for the anomaly's response. Gradually, the gravitational pull weakened, the field's intensity dimming to a gentle hum. "We did it," Ilara breathed, relief and triumph in her tone. As the anomaly's power subsided, a portal flickered into existence at its heart, a doorway to an uncharted realm. Its light beckoned, a promise of new discoveries and untold wonders. I turned to Ilara, a shared understanding passing between us. "Looks like the universe has more in store for us." With the Odyssey now free, the decision lay before us to venture into the unknown or return to familiar stars. For me, the choice was clear. "I'll go first," I said, a grin breaking through the tension. "Someone's gotta make sure the water's warm." With that, I stepped into the portal, the light enveloping me in a radiant embrace. As the universe shifted around me, I knew the journey was far from over. The celestial convergences awaited, and I was ready to embrace whatever lay on the other side. Part 6: The Abyssal Nexus. Stepping through the portal was like being born into a new universe, the transition a symphony of light and sound that cascaded around me in waves. My senses reeled at the onslaught, a kaleidoscope of impressions imprinting themselves upon my mind. The unknown enveloped me, yet a flicker of excitement tempered the dizzying disorientation. When my vision cleared, I found myself in a vast chamber, its dimensions stretching beyond perception. The architecture was an otherworldly blend of crystalline structures and flowing energies, every surface alive with luminescent patterns. It was as if I had entered the cathedral of existence itself, a sanctuary carved from the very fabric of the cosmos. "Zeke, are you with me?" I called, my voice echoing into the silence. There was a momentary pause before his reassuring tones resonated through my calm. "I'm here, Flynn. We are indeed off the map, scanning the environment now." A sense of relief washed over me, grounding me amidst the surreal surroundings. I surveyed the chamber, noting the presence of a central dais upon which rested a console, its surface inscribed with symbols similar to those encountered at the nebula's array. As I approached the dais, a presence stirred within the chamber, distinct yet familiar. It was the consciousness of the artifact, its essence woven through the nexus, reaching out with a query that resonated within me. Who seeks the knowledge of the abyssal nexus? The question was not spoken but felt, a gentle intertwining of thought and intention. "I am Flynn, a seeker of truths," I responded, instinctively opening my mind to the presence. "I've come to understand the purpose of this place and the knowledge it holds." The presence seemed to consider my response, a ripple of awareness passing through the chamber. The nexus is a convergence of pathways, a repository of consciousness spanning the eons. To unlock its secrets, one must first prove their understanding of the greater whole. A challenge not of strength but of insight. The prospect invigorated me, and I placed my hand upon the console, feeling the hum of energy as it responded to my touch. The symbols coalesced into a sequence, a puzzle woven from the threads of time and space. "Flynn, you should know the energy fluctuations here are off the charts," Zeke interjected, his tone both impressed and wary. "Whatever this is, it holds immense power." I nodded absently, my attention focused on deciphering the symbols. They danced before me, a tapestry of meanings that eluded conventional understanding. Yet, the deeper I delved, the more their essence resonated within me, a melody of cosmic symmetry. Gradually, the symbols aligned, their patterns resolving into a single, harmonious whole. The chamber vibrated with a resonant hum, the air shimmering with nascent power. "You have glimpsed the Nexus's truth," the presence acknowledged, a note of approval in its ethereal voice. "Now, you must choose to preserve this knowledge within the Nexus or to bear it into the universe." I hesitated, the weight of the decision settling upon me. To leave the knowledge here was to safeguard it, a testament to my commitment to the balance I sought. But to carry it forward was to invite risk and potential transformation. Before I could answer, the chamber flared with light, and a familiar figure stepped through the portal, Captain Alara, her expression one of determination and shared purpose. "Flynn, I couldn't let you have all the fun," she quipped, her eyes filled with the same awe reflected in mine. "This place is incredible. I had to see it for myself." I chuckled, grateful for her presence. "Glad to have you here, Alara. We have a decision to make." She joined me at the console, her gaze tracing the symbols with an understanding born from her own journey. This knowledge, it could change everything, but not all change is for the better. Together, we contemplated the nexus, the chamber around us a testament to the vast potential of interconnected existence. The presence waited, patient and eternal, as we weighed our options. Finally, I spoke, my choice clear. We'll preserve it here within the nexus. This knowledge belongs to the universe itself, beyond the grasp of any one being. Alara nodded in agreement, her resolve mirroring mine. "It's the right choice, Flynn. Some things are meant to endure, even if they're never known." With our decision made, the Nexus responded, the chamber resonating with a harmonic crescendo. The symbols faded into the console, the energies of the nexus gathering into a luminescent sphere that hovered above the dais, a beacon of cosmic understanding, safely ensconced within the nexus's embrace. As we prepared to return through the portal, the presence offered a final benediction. Go forth, seekers. The universe awaits your discovery. The nexus shall guide you in times of need. With a shared nod, Alara and I stepped back through the portal, the light enveloping us in its radiant embrace. The transition was seamless, the familiar confines of the Odyssey forming around us as the portal closed behind. The experience hung in the air like a charged promise, the echoes of the Nexus a persistent melody in my mind. Together with Alara, I felt a renewed sense of purpose, to seek, to understand, to protect the delicate balance we had glimpsed. The universe stretched wide and deep before us, teeming with secrets and wonders yet to be revealed. And as the stars beckoned us onward, I knew that my journey was far from over, and that the paths of discovery and choice would forever guide my steps. Part 7, Veil of the Ancients. The cosmos lay vast and unfathomable, a sea of stars twinkling with untold secrets and endless possibilities. The Odyssey and the violet mist drifted together in an uneasy alliance forged by mutual wonder and shared discovery. The presence of Captain Alara, an ally in curiosity and courage, was a welcome companion as we ventured deeper into the enigma of the universe. Flynn, I've been analyzing the data from the Nexus, Alara said, her voice a blend of excitement and caution. There's a pattern emerging, like a map of interconnected phenomena spread across the galaxy. I turned to her intrigued. A map of what exactly? She tapped a sequence into the console, bringing up a holographic display that shimmered between us. I'm not entirely sure yet, but the energy signatures suggest a series of ancient waypoints, possibly locations of prime significance to whoever or whatever created the Nexus. The implications were staggering. This wasn't just a map. It was a breadcrumb trail left by a civilization whose reach extended far beyond our comprehension. Zeke, do you have anything to add? I asked, eager for any insights from my digital companion. This is unprecedented, Zeke replied, his electronic tone tinged with awe. The waypoints intersect with known anomalies and unknowns, suggesting a deliberately obscured network. Unlocking it could reveal pathways of immense knowledge and power. A quest for the ages had unfolded before us, its mysteries tantalizing in their promise. But I knew such pursuits came with inherent dangers, challenges that would test our resolve and ingenuity. Let's start with the closest waypoint, I decided, eyes fixed on the holographic map. Whatever secrets it holds, we'll face them together. With our course set, we prepared to delve deeper into the cosmic tapestry. The journey was long, the void around us filled with the hum of engines and the quiet anticipation of discovery. Our path led us to a region of space known as the Veil of the Ancients, a stellar nursery shrouded in myth and legend, its nebulae swirling with colors that defied description. The veil unfolded before us, a grand curtain of luminescent gases and shimmering stardust. It was both beautiful and daunting, a siren's call beckoning us into its embrace. Flynn, the waypoint is dead ahead, buried within the heart of the nebula, Alara announced, an edge of excitement in her voice. All right, initiating our approach, I replied, guiding the violet mist into the veil with Alara's ship following close behind. As we penetrated the nebula's outer layers, the atmosphere shifted, the colors intensifying into a vibrant symphony around us. It was as if we had entered a living tapestry, each thread of color weaving a story of creation and destruction. But within the beauty lurked an undercurrent of tension. The ship's sensors detected anomalies, gravitational eddies, and electromagnetic surges that threatened to tear us apart should we stray too far from our path. "Stay sharp, everyone," I cautioned, adjusting the ship's systems to compensate for the disturbances. The waypoint appeared on the horizon, a monolithic structure suspended in the void. Its surface was etched with symbols that glowed with an inner light, reminiscent of those we had encountered at the Nexus. It was a sentinel, ancient and enigmatic, holding vigil over the Veil's secrets. As we drew near, a sudden jolt rocked the ship, the controls bucking under an unseen force. I fought to stabilize our course, my heart pounding as the waypoint's energies surged around us. "Flynn, the structure is probing our systems," Zeke informed, his tone alert. "It's attempting to interface, but I can't determine its intent." "Let's not let it have free rein just yet," I responded, initiating a sequence to shield our systems from further intrusion. But as I did, the structure shifted, its energies coalescing into a holographic interface that materialized in the air before us. The symbols rearranged themselves into a coherent form, a message from the ancients encoded in light. Ilara and I leaned closer, captivated by the display. It was a message, a call to action from the past. "Seek the convergence of paths where light and shadow embrace. There, the truth of the cosmos shall be revealed." The words resonated within me, their meaning as elusive as it was profound. The convergence of paths, perhaps the ultimate destination of our journey, the culmination of the map's revelations. As the message faded, the structure's energies receded, leaving us adrift in the Veil's embrace. The waypoint had shared its knowledge, but the path ahead was still ours to forge. "Flynn, we've been given a direction," Ilara said, her eyes alight with determination. "But this is only the beginning." I nodded, a sense of purpose infused with the challenge of the unknown. "Then let's follow the clues wherever they lead. The universe is vast, but we're not alone in seeking its truths." With the waypoint's message as our guide, we steeled ourselves for the journey ahead. The cosmos beckoned with untold mysteries and trials, but together, our resolve was unshakable. The veil of the ancients held many secrets, and we were ready to uncover them, one star at a time. Part 8: Dance of the Celestial Shadows. Leaving the veil of the ancients behind was like emerging from a dream, the vibrant nebula receding into the rear display of the cockpit. The journey had lit a fire of curiosity within us, a flame that burned brighter with each revelation. The map's mysteries unraveled slowly, each waypoint a piece of a greater tapestry yet to be seen. "Next stop is the Sindara Expanse," Ilara announced from her station aboard the Odyssey, her voice resonating with eager anticipation. "It's a region known for its transient phenomena. Our waypoint marks a convergence there." The Sindara Expanse, a realm whispered about in tales of wandering lights and vanishing worlds. The very notion sent a thrill through my veins, a siren's call luring us deeper into the cosmic mysteries. "Sounds like just the kind of place where truth and myth might collide," I replied with a grin, adjusting the ship's trajectory to match that of the Odyssey. "Here's hoping we find more answers than questions." As we traveled, the space around us began to shift, the stars themselves blinking in and out as if caught in a celestial dance. The expanse was a trickster, bending light and time, a realm where reality and imagination intertwined. "Flynn, I'm detecting unusual energy pulses ahead," Zeke reported, his tone a blend of caution and fascination. "They appear to be emanating from the waypoint." "Let's approach with care," I advised, the ship responding smoothly under my touch. We don't know what kind of welcome we'll get. The waypoint emerged from the swirling depths of the expanse, a structure less tangible than its predecessor. It flickered in and out of visibility, an ephemeral presence that seemed almost sentient in its capriciousness. As we closed the distance, the ship systems began to experience distortions, the displays occasionally flickering with static. I could feel the expanse probing us, curious and playful, its nature as unpredictable as the shifting stars. Once within range, the structure stabilized, revealing itself as a magnificent array of interlocking spheres, each spinning gracefully around a central axis. Ethereal tendrils of energy stretched between them, weaving a luminous web that shimmered like a living thing. "Flynn, I think it's inviting us," Alara said, awe-threading her voice as she studied the display. "An invitation we can't refuse," I replied, guiding the violet mist into formation with the Odyssey. As we docked with the waypoint, the ship's systems synchronized with the structure's rhythm, pulling us into a shared experience. The air around us shimmered, and the chamber transformed into an expansive vista, a simulation, perhaps, or a vision granted by the ancient guardians. Before us stretched the Sindara expanse in all its glory, a kaleidoscope of celestial phenomena swirling in a dance of creation and decay. It was a portrait of the cosmos itself, captured and rendered in breathtaking beauty. "We're seeing the expanse as it truly is," Alara murmured, her eyes wide with wonder. "A dance of shadows and light, a convergence of the universe's many paths." As she spoke, the visions shifted, revealing pathways that intersected and diverged, each one a potential outcome, a choice made or yet to be made. It was a tapestry of possibilities, an intricate web woven from the threads of time. At the center of it all lay a singular path, brighter and more defined than the others. It beckoned with a gravitational pull, a promise of revelation and understanding. "Flynn, this path, it's connected to the map," Zeke said, his voice touched with awe. "It's the convergence the ancient message spoke of." Our purpose crystallized before us, the waypoint revealing the next piece of the puzzle. The path was not just a destination but a journey, a series of choices leading us toward the heart of the cosmic mystery. With a shared glance, Alara and I acknowledged the gravity of our task. The waypoint had shown us the way, and now it was up to us to follow the path, to uncover the truths hidden in the dance of celestial shadows. As the vision faded, the chamber returned to its original state, the waypoint releasing us from its embrace. The violet mist and Odyssey disengaged, the ships once more free to navigate the expanse on our terms. "We have our heading," I said, resolve and excitement threading my words. "The expanse has shown us the way. It's time we see where it leads." With the stars as our guide and the map as our compass, we set our course for the convergence, a journey into the unknown, where light and shadow embraced in the eternal dance of the universe. Together, Alara and I steered our ships into the cosmic interplay, the echoes of ancient wisdom humming through the vastness, urging us onward.